Well, good evening. It's a little better. Good evening.
Good evening.
And I would like to welcome all of you here to this very special and exciting time where we get a chance to celebrate and recognize a fantastic gentleman for his service to DeSoto ISD and to children and in general to the state of Texas for the contribution that he's made. At this time, I'm going to ask that Pastor Epps would come and lead us in invocation, and we will move forward with the program.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Let me just share for 45 seconds. I'm a Kimball graduate of 1985. Back in those days, there was a young man who came to Kimball as the assistant basketball coach. However, they had to do dual service. And this guy's name was Chris Dyer. He coached the receivers on the football team. And let me share, he was a terrible coach. Didn't have a clue about football at all. But then after football season was over and we went to the gym, we saw where the real talent was. And even back in those days, he got a new name called the White Shadow, because everyone on the team was African American. And here's this white guy sitting on the end of the bench. But let me share, very successful then, very successful at South Oak Cliff, and we are the recipients of his excellence as a coach. Amen. Let us pray. God, we thank you so much for being the awesome God you are. We thank you for this day and what it represents in the life of Chris Dyer and his entire family. I am so honored and so blessed to be a part of such a school district, God, that don't wait till people die before we honor them. But thank you for the leadership of this school as we progress and move forward in celebrating people while still alive. And God, right now as we come, I pray blessings on this entire city, on this entire school district, and definitely on the things that are going to be done inside of this Chris Dyer gym. I pray, God, that you will continue to touch him and that you will continue to keep his mind strong. And God, keep his mind humble as he continue to invest in our children. Thank you for what you continue to do to make this city great and this school district great. And again, we give you the honor, the glory, and the praise for being the awesome God you are, and for just working through ordinary people as they do extraordinary things. Thank you, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Epps, and also we say thank you to the Community Missionary Baptist Church family for their contribution, also to our community for being just great supporters of our district, and thank you for that prayer as well. We'd also like to extend a warm guest to our dignitaries that are here with us, DeSoto ISD family, our basketball community, and certainly, and I know that Coach Dyer would say this, that he certainly could not have made it without his wife, Jean. So would you please stand, Jean? It also gives me great pleasure to introduce another dignitary that's here with us, and we'll get to hear from her later, but we'd like to recognize our mayor, Ms. Kirsten McCallum. At this time, if you please allow me to welcome to the podium Representative Yvonne Davis with a proclamation.
Thank you, Dr. Harris, and to Mayor and all other elected and distinguished guests. Let me just say what a pleasure it is to be here to celebrate the occasion of the naming of some building after someone that's brought so much to this community. You know, after all, when you start talking about working with our youth and making a difference for our youth, That is probably the greatest honor any of us could have, is that we leave a legacy, that we care for the kids and we allow them to grow to be the best that they could be. So I want to join in with the DeSoto community, the residents, those who love basketball, and celebration of this naming and honoring Coach Chris Dyer. You know, in Austin, you said, what does the House of Representatives have to do with basketball, beyond the fact that we love it because we came from a school very similar to this, but also because they bring the young men to Austin. And we've seen a lot of DeSoto because we win a lot, so I'm all pleased with that. I remind some of the other members when our team comes to Austin and celebrate, and when they do their medals, I said, I want you to know I actually have a medal from UIL for my basketball champions out of DeSoto. So I tell them that, and they go, oh, we want one, can you get one? If your team doesn't win. Anyway, and I'm here just to bring a resolution from the state of Texas in honor of this renaming and dedication ceremony for Coach Dyer. And if you'll join me, I'd like to present it to you, Coach. This is a resolution that merely states all the wonderful things that we already know about him, all the wonderful things and accomplishments he's made and contributed to this community. But what's important is that we honor you with this dedication resolution, so that you know that the state of Texas recognizes the history that we're making here today, and celebrate the occasion, because leadership is awesome when you have somebody making a difference for our children. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. That's okay.
As I said before, we have some awesome dignitaries that are here with us as well, and I'd like to recognize them as we go along as well. Mayor Pro Tem, Rachel Proctor. Ms. Proctor. We also have our Chamber President, Ms. Laura Terhune, who's here with us as well. And our Assistant Police Chief, Mr. Perkins, Officer Perkins. Thank you, Mr. Perkins. At this time, we'll have a proclamation from our very own mayor, Ms. Kirsty McConnell.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harris. To Dr. Harris, the members of the DeSoto ISD Board of Trustees, those currently serving on the board, and I see my friend Brad Golden, a former trustee in the audience, and any other of the former DeSoto ISD trustees. My colleague, my esteemed colleague, has been introduced, Mayor Pro Tem Proctor, and I was looking around to see if other members of the council are here, and I don't see anyone yet. I know our city manager is trying his best to get here. I see somebody from the city. Our Parks and Recreation Director, Renee Johnson. Renee Thomas is running around here working this evening. Renee Johnson. And to our honoree, it is my honor to have this opportunity. I told you when I spoke to your team, I'm a former basketball player, and I was a good one too. And so for me to be mayor at this time, it's such an honor to get to do this. Would you join me as I read the City of DeSoto's proclamation? And I'm going to take time to do all of it, so please bear with me. Whereas it is timely and proper to recognize outstanding contributions and dedication to individuals who have exhibited extraordinary talent and sportsmanship in respective field and have served as outstanding role models for both the youth and adults of not only this community, the nation, and beyond our borders and shores. And whereas Christopher Chris Dyer, born July 23rd, 1959, tell me your age, spent the first 22 years of his life in Akron, Ohio, noted for being the home of the first graded school system in the United States, and where the concept of a school superintendent was created. Little did he know, while attending Akron East High School, that he was destined to educate and inspire in the classroom and on the basketball court. And whereas Chris Dyer selected the University of Akron to pursue his dream of obtaining his Bachelor of Science degree in education, and whereas Chris Dyer immediately went into the field of education as an assistant coach in 1990 at Justin F. Kimball High School in Dallas, and as head coach at South Oak Cliff High School in 1992. In 2002, Chris successfully coached in the International Basketball Tournament, Global Games, which brings the world's top amateur basketball players to Dallas, Texas. It was during this time that the United States defeated Yugoslavia for the gold medal. In April of 2006, Chris was the winning coach for the West during both the Michael Jordan and McDonald's Classic, both held at the Barclays Center in New York City. And whereas Chris Dyer, for the past 24 years, has held the city of DeSoto and the DeSoto Independent School District close to his heart, not only as a resident of 21 years, but he also just completed his 18th season at DeSoto High School. Did we get that right? Pretty much. Close enough. Overall, he has graced us with his presence for 34 seasons of coaching in the Dallas and DeSoto Independent School Districts. His overall record is 692 wins and 166 losses. Is that correct? Pretty much. I'm just in awe. And has been to the state tournament 9 times, winning 5 most current state championships in 2016. This man is phenomenal. He is a strong coach, and most would describe him as resilient, determined, and I agree with this one, non-assuming, and methodical, of course. Another side to him is characterized as nurturing and caring. Chris Dyer walks the talk, being the first to implement periodic basketball barefoot training. I need to know more about that, which has proven to reduce the injuries amongst players. And whereas Chris Dyer is not only an amazing coach, he is an incredible educator, educating our youth in the field of world geography by examining the earth and how people interact with their environment, understanding and exploring the physical, cultural, economical, political, and technological features, thereby preparing our youth for the global economy in which we live. I'm almost there. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Curtistine S. McCowan, by the authority vested in me by the state of Texas as mayor of the All-America City of DeSoto, do hereby proclaim October 25th, 2016 as the dedication day and naming of the DeSoto High School Gymnasium as the, what? Everybody say together, Chris Dyer Gymnasium in the city of DeSoto, to honor and celebrate Coach Dyer for his outstanding contributions to the community and the nation. I urge all DeSoto citizens to join us in our acknowledgement of all of the great contributions he has made. And I am so honored to have signed this proclamation, courtesy as McCowan Mayor, and it was attested to by our City Secretary, Keisha R. Martins. Help me applaud this outstanding. Thank you. Congratulations. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Representative Devon Davis. And Representative Davis, thank you for your support to public education and what you do. And those who don't know, that she is a fierce fighter for public education in the state of Texas, and more specifically here in DeSoto. At this time, do we have any former players who have actually played for Coach Dyer?
Oh, yeah.
If you're a former player, you would raise your hand.
That gentleman there played for me, Kimball.
One that Kim got somebody from Kimball? Kimball. At this time, also those who have coached with Coach Dyer. Anyone who's coached with Coach Dyer? Coached with Coach Dyer. Also, we have great people all around us, and I believe that DeSoto recognizes and appreciates great people. And I know we're here to recognize and honor Coach Dyer, but we also have Mr. Ayers. Is that? I think I said that. Ours. I'm sorry. Who is given to DeSoto for 35 years?
More or less.
More or less. So everybody's more or less. So we, the voice of DeSoto, we want to thank you for your service for these many years, and thank you for being here this evening. At this time, I'm going to call up our board vice president, Mr. Aubrey Christopher Hooper, who will introduce our board and have comments on behalf of our board.
Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today for this awesome occasion to honor a great individual. I'll first start by introducing the board. Unfortunately, our school board president, since his expressed regrets for not being able to come, as well as our secretary, Trustee Moncrief, who is in D.C. Currently, and also Mr. Gant, who had to be out of town on business. But I will introduce those that are present. We have Trustee Karen Daniel, and please stand and be recognized. We have Trustee Gold, if you please stand and be recognized. And Trustee Jerry Hall, if you please stand and be recognized. And again, I think we've already acknowledged those former trustees that are in the audience. So we appreciate you for coming. It is again, like I said, a special occasion to honor such a great and phenomenal young man. Like many, I too have a very interesting history with Coach Dyer. Many of you know that I graduated from Townview, but for a very short while, Coach Dyer was actually at Townview and was my freshman PE coach while I was at Townview. And so then and even now, what is remarkable about him is, number one, how humble he is. Number two, how he instills great values and integrity within our young men. So as much as we are excited about the championships, the 3 championships that he has brought to DeSoto, we are even more interested in the wonderful young people and wonderful young men that he is helping to produce. And so even though we don't have a proclamation, we have a wonderful building. that we are presenting and naming on behalf of such a phenomenal man and a phenomenal basketball coach. And so again, thank you for all of your service. We hope to have a few more years. Just a few. Just a few. But again, thank you again, and we appreciate everything that you do for DeSoto. And when we look at what does it mean to be a DeSoto Eagle, we see a picture of Chris Dyer.
You know, I think I've been on the job about, I don't know, maybe a week, and so I get a call from a parent. I mean, literally a week, and the concern was that her son couldn't play basketball because of his hair, and they wanted me to have a conversation with his coach about not being able to play basketball. But let me just say this, having coached for a long time myself, and after I did my research on Coach Dyer, I said to her, what's the problem? Because he cares about kids. And let me just say, being a new person, you do your research. And I ask people, tell me about Coach Dyer, I care about Coach Dyer. Let me just tell you this, I could not find a single person, not one, and that's why we're here today, that could say anything to discredit or to feel like Coach Dyer did not care about kids, to care about students. I'm telling you, not a single person. They all said he loved kids, he cared about kids, he wanted to build character in kids. This is what he was all about. And I knew right then that he was the person to continue to lead the job and continue to make a difference in our students' lives. And that's why we're here, because he has lived that every single day. He's lived it every single day. He has not changed, he has not wavered. He is who he is, and he just hopes and wishes the best in every single student. So much that I love one of the things that, before I bring up Mr. Palermo to introduce him, one of the things that he lives on is just treat others the way in which you would like to be treated. And what more can you ask for? It's just to treat others the way you would like to be treated. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Palermo to come up and introduce our honoree for this evening, and after which we'll hear from the honoree. Mr. Palermo.
Well, Chris, after hearing all this, I'm just lucky I got to meet you 31 years ago. I met Chris 31 years ago as an assistant coach at Carter High School. Chris and I coached against each other. I'm not going to tell you what the outcomes were. I don't want to ruin his record. Over those 31 years, I coached against him. I've worshiped with him. I've done Bible studies with him, prayed with him. I've taught with him. I rode bikes out in the country with him. And he allowed me to work with his young ball players. And over 31 years of being with this person as a friend, you learn a lot about his character. And number one, God is the center of his life. He's a great man of integrity. And one thing I learned about Chris Dyer, he is a very humble man. Chris had a gift, and that gift was teaching. We taught together over at Townview. And I left Townview, and then I heard in 1998 that the job was opening here in DeSoto. Kitty Hickerson was the principal. And I knew Kitty really well because she had my daughter in middle school and also became her high school principal. And I went into Kitty and I said, I want to talk about Chris Dyer. And I didn't mention one thing about coaching. It was his teaching. great teacher and his character. And afterwards, a few days later, I got a phone call from Kitty, and she said, "You were the first person to recommend someone for this job that didn't talk about coaching. And we're going to hire Chris." So, as I say that he's a teacher, he came up with an acronym a few years ago, the word TEAM. Teach everything and more. And that's what he's done. And in this team that he had, I would always say to people, what a wonderful reflection that team is of Chris Dyer. I went from Midland, Texas, all the way to North Carolina over the years, traveling with his team. And everywhere we went, they would say, "Wow, we want to be part of DeSoto," because of the young men and how they acted when they were on the road playing their big basketball games. Chris loves to teach, and he loves to help other people, the young people, become successful in their lives. And you can talk to any of the ones that are here right now, because I know many of them, and they'll let you know that. Putting that name on the building right there, I know what Chris is thinking. Not my name. Put my assistant coaches, my players up there, because that's how he is. And what Chris has done over the years is created this wonderful museum inside, which you're going to be going into shortly. Go to the second floor, go out on the balcony, and look at all the banners with all of his assistant coaches and players' names on those banners, and the pictures. This is a museum that has been created here. And then, if you ever get the opportunity, go into his office. And you'll still see more trophies and more pictures and more plaques. But three things that stand out in that room is the Bible right next to his computer that I've seen him open. The picture of his beautiful wife, Jean Dyer, who is such an inspiration for him. And then Jimmy Tubbs.
Yes.
The man that mentored him to be what he is today in coaching. And Chris, I want to finish with something that I've said to you many times over the years. Matthew 25:21. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have done what you've done in a little. I now give you more to roll over. Now I introduce to you Chris Dyer.
Well,
How do you top that?
yeah, so good. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for being here. Just totally blown away by everything. Pastor Epps, thank you so much. But I want you to know, I was the offense coordinator for the JV, and our last 2 years we won district. And I didn't know anything about football. I really didn't. But I was around some great people, great students, great coaches. I'm very thankful for all this. I'm blown away. It's just hard to put into words, to be honest with you. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for everything that you all have done. And I'm just surprised. I'm also very amused. That's been up there for a couple of weeks, and I'd drive up and I would look at it and I'd start laughing. I mean, let's be honest. God has a sense of humor. He has to. I mean, the Cubs are in the World Series. Cleveland is hosting the World Series. The Cavs are the world champs. And being from Akron, that means a lot, believe me. My name on the building really does not excite me. It really doesn't. And part of the reason is it just makes me very, very humble. There's three scriptures that are all the same. And I've gone by Matthew 23:12, and then I was doing my research. Luke 14:11, Luke 18:14, all have the same wordage. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. I had that on my locker room for the last 3 years. I don't even know if any of the players have even looked at it. But I want to take this moment to give the glory to God, because people ask me all the time, how'd you get down here? How'd you end up in Texas? And I tell them God. God is the reason I'm in DeSoto. God is the reason we've had any success. I mean, I can tell people, all I am is a magnifying glass, a little bit thin on top, thick in the middle. And the good Lord shines His light and just kind of redirects what I need to do. I wish I could take credit for any of this or all this, but I cannot. Next to the glory of God would be my wife, Jean, who has been with me for 33 years, even though sometimes she gets that number wrong. But the one thing I will say is besides God putting me here, God has put great people around me, better people than really I deserve. My wife, the coaches that have been here with me. Coach Golden has been with me for 19 years. Coach Pinchback has been with me for over 10 years. He's been in the district, and every year he's worked with us. Coach Williams actually played on our 03 team, and he's our freshman coordinator. Coach McIver was with me for 17 years. Coach Martinez, Coach Douglas, Coach Barstow, they're all head coaches now. But I am truly blessed with all the people he has put around me. The administration, school board, thank you so much for your support, for doing all this. I can't thank everyone enough. My friends and family members that are here today, I'm just, like I said, I figured really when they would do this, it might be maybe 5 people. And Gene and I would count for 2. So, Coach Larry Goad, who was here when I first got here, and I felt like I was doing a horrible job, and he took me aside and told me that our first year here, we were 18 and 13, and he told me that was the second best record in the history of the school. So I thought, man, I should have gone back to Townview. But probably the most important, besides giving the glory to God, the most important, let's not lose sight of the fact that without the players, both present and past, without the players, I wouldn't be here. None of us would be here. That name would not be up there. Like I said, besides having great people around me, He's blessed me with some great young men that I've known for 35 plus years, who I'm still friends with. To me, that's the greatest thing that a signage on a building is, your relationship with your past players. The sign outside is the least important. I don't mean to belittle it. I'm very thankful, but the sign outside is the least important. The people inside is what has made this gym special. And what you leave behind is not what is. What you leave behind is not what is engraved on stone monuments, but is woven into the lives of others. If my former players, when they drive by here, when they see that, I hope they understand that they put it up there, not me. Thank you.
amazing comments. And let me just say this, since we're in the mode of, Coach Dyer, I believe there's somewhere in the book that says that as the children of Israel came out over the sea, they pressed down stones. And those stones, then they asked the question, what mean these stones? Am I getting close? So, I don't want to be too far off. More or less. And as a reminder, because we all have footsteps that we're going to leave in this journey called life. We all leave footprints. And as they came out and they asked, so when people see these stones, what are they going to say? They're going to say, these are the people that have passed through, that have overcome, that have made a difference, more or less, in moving forward. We hope this building signifies your footsteps, and the footsteps that you left. And when young men who aspire to be just young men or to be players, when they look up there and they, many years to come, and they go, well, who was Chris Dyer? We hope, we pray that the story is told of some of the amazing difference that you've made in those students' lives. But not only that, the difference that you've made, as you said, of getting us all here together. That makes a difference. Coach, that makes a difference, and we appreciate you for your service. We appreciate you for that championship that's coming in 2017. And so we do appreciate you. I don't want to leave out without saying we'd like to recognize the high school staff, our high school principal, Ms. McGowan, as well, and her staff. Our administrative staff that are here also, if you would please stand. We have administrators that are here also out and about, so we thank you very much for that. I'm missing something, Dr. Lominier and some other people that really, as we looked at this occasion, knew that we could not find a better person for it.
All right, Chris, are you ready?
So before we cut, Coach Dyer, we want to say to you, we certainly appreciate you, what you've done. We're really excited about recognizing you as the honoree for this building. And I just got to go back to those words that you said. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. And we are treating you today by dedicating this gymnasium. You ready to cut? All right.
Well, Chris Dyer is an excellent coach, but other than that, he is more than an excellent coach. He is an excellent person. As we heard out there, he was my coach at Kimball in 1984, 85, and he and I are the best of friends now. So he's a good guy. He really deserves it. When he was coaching with Coach Tubbs, he would normally go home after games with a bruised leg, and I'm sure when he sees this, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've known Chris for about 30 plus years, and we've coached against each other, and the kind of person he is and the kind of coach he is and what he's done for young people is something that not a lot of people get a chance to do, and he deserves all the credit he gets. And as you know, he's a very humble person. You can tell by just anytime there's credit to be given, he always gives it to somebody else, and that means a lot. And he's a great coach, a great person, and like they say, he's a great teacher of the game. He's been doing it for a long time. Great story when he was at Kimball, and I was at Duncanville, and we were JV coaches at the time, and we would have some pretty big knockdown, drag out fights, and he was always, no matter if he won, no matter if he lost, he would always come over and we'd always talk about things. It was never really about the competition as much as about him and I getting, learning, becoming head coaches and moving up the ranks, and I always remember that. You know, he always had time to talk about that, and he always really encouraged me all the way through. So I'll never forget that about him.
He's just a great guy. He's a great coach. All the things he's taught kids over the years is what every coach aspires to be. Back with Chris, clear back to Kimball when he was assistant under Jimmy Tubbs, and I was the head coach at Dunkerville High School. And I've known him since then. When the job opened up here in DeSoto, they hadn't been real successful up until that point. And they were in our district, and I knew that DeSoto basketball was going to change as soon as they got Chris Dyer. And I think the record proved that everybody was right. It was a heck of a lot different playing DeSoto coached by Chris Dyer.
Chris is one of the most wonderful people that I have ever met. I think one thing that is so amazing is that he and Jean have been named godparents of many of their former players' children, and I think it's more than you can count on two hands. One thing that I will always remember after coming to see his games in the 2002-2003 season, DeSoto High School had never, ever won a postseason basketball game until 2003. To go from never winning a postseason game to winning state the first time he took these boys to state is just amazing. And all of his players are a reflection of him. They are all have such great character, and I'm just proud to call him a friend. I'm proud to be able to watch the games that he coaches, and I'm just happy for him. Thank you.
Just the hard work and dedication that he put in, the sacrifice that he's made, timeless in and out, 365 days. Coach Dyer does not sleep. He's always at work. He's always at the gym. He's always teaching. So with all the things that he's put in the work, man, the name just speaks for itself. But he's done so much for this community, just not for basketball, but just for the community, families around the community, and so forth.
We've known Chris ever since he got us interested in basketball. We've been around DeSoto forever. We didn't know what winning was like until Chris got here. But I just want to let you know that Chris is one of the finest teachers, one of the finest men. I think a pretty good coach too. I think he's done all right. And I just want to thank him for everything that he's done for all these kids that come through DeSoto High School.
Hi, Chris. We love you. I am so thankful that I had your whole basketball team in my class in 2003. And Charles Stoker convinced me to come to a game. And as you know, we've been coming to games ever since then. Thank you for wonderful memories.
Some of the most influential men in my life were my coaches. They understood what clearly came out in today's dedication that you understand as well. The phrase in those days was the game of life. And you are clearly preparing young men to play the game of life, to understand the rules, to follow the disciplines, to build their skills. It's a real gift that you give them that will last the rest of their lives. And we sincerely appreciate all that you have done. Championships are great, names on the building are fabulous, but you have taught them how to play the game of life. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jean, for being the power behind the throne.
Congratulations, Chris and Jean, and it couldn't have gone to a more deserving person. Thank you, and it's an honor to know you.
Coach D, he gives so much of himself to the kids, to the program, to the community. He's a phenomenal coach, but he's even a better teacher. I learn from Coach D every day. I'm very appreciative to the things that he's taught me, he's instilling in me. I learn something new from him every day, so it's really a pleasure to see someone that knows what he's doing and guide you along a path to help you become something greater than yourself. I just remember we were down in San Antonio for the game, and it was kind of tight, and he wanted to emphasize something to the kids, and he was writing on the board, and he emphasized it, then he hit the board and it broke, and the kids the look on their face, it was just kind of priceless. And then a guy that's from the basketball museum said, "Hey, could I get that board? I want to put it in the Texas Basketball Museum. So that was a good moment.
I do at that same game. The moment that I had was prior to the championship game, and it was the moment he came to our hotel room and came and grabbed Coach Pinchback, and they decided to have a walk before the game and talk about things and take a little moment in silence and reflect and prepare. So it was very calming. It set the mood, because even as a wife, a coach's wife, we get nervous too in supporting our gentlemen. So it was a nice moment that he did that. He asked for permission from me, and I willingly let him go. Go do your thing, Coach.
Well, it's the difference that he's made in kids' lives. I've been fortunate enough to teach several of his basketball players, and it's great fun to watch them in the gym and to see how they work together and to see him coach, but that's nothing in compared to working with him as a teacher, making sure that his boys are growing, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. You really see firsthand that basketball is just one ingredient. He's all about the character and the kind of person they are, and he keeps following them. Once they're gone from here, he's still invested in them, and he still knows where they're at. And I just have really, he deserves this. It's not just the basketball games he's won. It's the kind of young man he develops, and it's the kind of teacher he is. It's the kind of co-worker he is. He's a great friend. And really, he's been an inspiration to me. Just his attitude and the way he invests in kids' lives, it's phenomenal. So, Coach Dyer, I just want to say congratulations and sick of Bears.
Chris, first of all, it's an honor that I got to speak today on your behalf. And the honor is all the wonderful things you did in that gymnasium, in this gymnasium. The one thing that sticks out in my mind the most was that day at practice. You took your keys and you slammed them on the floor. And my biggest concern, did you put a gouge in the floor? But you were telling your players, you're a teacher first. And you don't do this to coach, you do this to teach. And that's your occupation. So Chris, thanks for all that you do.
Chris Dyer, what can I say? This is Sharon Price wishing you many, many congratulations. Well deserved, Chris. Awesome coach, awesome man, awesome Christian. Known you for many years. I've seen the impact that you've had on the young men in this town, in this school, and it's far, far reaching. More so than just the basketball court. I'm so happy for you. Great Buckeye, just like me. Go Bucks, and wish you all the best, Chris. Thanks.
Chris, there's nobody more deserving of this opportunity than you. Your hard work, your dedication, your devotion to the kids, to the community, to everything that is DeSoto ISD, wow. I'm very proud to call you a friend, a mentor, even a neighbor. Yes, even though you try to threaten me and throw me out of the neighborhood, we're going to be together till the end. Chris, love you. Congratulations on this great accomplishment, and we're not done. Let's get some more. Take care.
Uncle Chris, it's Fred and Meredith and Gabriel and Celeste who are here in spirit, and they wanted to be here. It just wasn't right because they're both at college. And Byron and Kay wanted to be here, but Byron had to have some dumb political ragamuffin event that he couldn't get out of. But he told me yesterday that he would rather be here, and they're so proud of you, and we are so proud of you. You and Mom are the most famous members in the family now, and your name will always be up there on the corner. So 500 years from now, when your great whatever they are will come by here and say, that's our ancestor, that's Uncle Chris. So we love you, and we're proud of you, and what else?
And God bless you.
And God bless you, and thank you.
Hey, Coach, this is Elder Barnes, and it is great to have the opportunity to stand in what I call the Dyer Dome. I was around when they built this building, and we've had many conversations over the years, both personally and professionally, and I've talked about the Dyer Dome. It is a great day to be standing here and to see a man who is humble and, first of all, moreover, who's a Christian man. And then more exciting for me were the 3 championships that you won. One in 2009 was the year my daughter graduated. Then last year, 2016, when I was the senior principal. So it's been exciting to work alongside of you and then to watch you work and to pour into all the young men who've come through not only your basketball program, but just come through the cafeterias while we've done cafeteria duty. Hey, man, you know we love you. You're a great friend. And, man, I guess I got a slab of ribs for you now. Take care, Coach. We love you. Thanks.
Chris Dyer deserves his name out there because I've never seen him when he didn't put his kids first. From the first time I met him, which was for the 03 championship, until now, he has always cared about his kids. And you know, him and I both, we retire every year, but we're still here. Every year he says, Miss Hogg, I think this is going to be it. And I said, me too, but for some reason, we're still here. So Chris Dyer, congratulations, and we hope you stay here another 10, 20 years maybe. Congratulations.
Because he, as was said in the meeting tonight, he cares about kids, he cares about people, whether they're teachers, students, secretaries, maintenance. He puts everybody first. He puts everybody ahead of himself. And so this is a great honor for him. It's well deserved, and I couldn't think of anybody better for it to happen with.